बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। आज के हमारे MCQ इलेक्शन ऑफिसर MCQs 16 मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट MCQs आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे। फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन हुए द रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर प्रिपेयरिंग एंड मेंटेनिंग द इलेक्टोरल रोल इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ पाकिस्तान। व्हाट इज द रोल ऑफ रिटर्निंग ऑफिसर इन द इलेक्शन प्रोसेस टू ओवरसीज द काउंटिंग ऑफ वोट्स under which section of Election Act 270 is the appointment of the polling staff covered Section 21. What is the minimum age requirement to vote in Pakistan election 18 year? Which section of Election Act 217 discuss the disqualification of candidates? Section 62. What is the role of Election Commission in the relation to political parties to oversee their registration and compliance? Under which section of the Election Act 217 or election expense regulated? Section 85. Who can file an election petition according to the Election Act 2017? Any candidate. What does the Section 78 of the Election Act 2070 pertain to? Election result declaration. What is the purpose of Form 47 under the Election Act 2070 to record vote count? Which section detail the responsibility of a district election commissioner? Section 27. What is the role of Nadra in the electoral process to maintain the electoral rolls? Which section of the Election Act 2070 cover the procedure for recounting votes? Section 82. Who issue the election result certificates? Returning officer. What is the primary duty of election officer on polling day? Oversee the polling station operation. Which document must a vote present at the polling station? Voter ID card. What should an election officer do if a voter does not have their ID card? Report to the returning officer. Question: which form is used to record voter turnout at a polling station? Form 47. What is the role of a presiding officer? To oversee the entire polling station operation. If a voter is found to be on the electoral roll but not present in the correct polling station, what should be done? Direct them to the correct polling station. What station should an election officer take if they suspect election fraud at the polling station? Notify the relevant authorities immediately. What is the procedure if a voter name is missing from the electoral roll? Refer them to a higher authority for resolution. How should election officer handle a situation where a voter is abused or disruptive? Report the incident to the presiding officer. What should an election officer do at the end of polling day? Secure and transport the election material to the designated location. What is the role of a polling station diary? To document any incident or irregularity during polling. Which action is required if a voter present an invalid ID at the polling station? Deny them the right to vote. What should be done with the used ballot paper after the counting? Store them securely for future reference or audits. Who is responsible for addressing any issue related to the physical setup of the polling station? The presiding officer. What is the primary function of the election monitoring team? To ensure the polling station comply with the regulation and procedure. How should election officer address a situation where a voter attempts to vote multiple teams? Report the voter to the presiding officer and prevent future voting. What is the purpose of the polling station inventory list? To list all election material and the equipment at the polling station. What should be done if a polling station experiences a malfunction in the electronics voting system? Report the issue and follow backup procedure. What is the primary function of the polling station diary? To document any irregularities or the incident during the polling. What action is required if an election officer find a ballot paper with multiple making discard it as disappointed? Which document must be signed by all election officer to confirm the accuracy of the vote count final count report? What should an election officer do if they observe discrepancy between the number of voters and the number of the ballot cast? Report the issue to the returning officer. Which documents is used to report the final result of the election to the election commission result declaration form? What should be done with the election material after the counting is completed? Store them securely for possible audits. If an election officer notices discrepancy in the voter register, what action should they take? Report it to the presiding officer or the returning officer. What is the purpose of the ballot paper accountant form used during the election? To record the total number of ballot paper issued and used. Who should be notified if an election related emergency occur at the polling station? The returning officer. What is the primary responsibility of an election officer during the polling? To manage the polling station and ensure smooth voting process. What document is used to record the number of voters who have cast their vote? Polling station diary. Who is responsible for the security of the polling station? Local law enforcement agency. What action should be taken if a voter name is not found in the electoral roll? Allow them to vote provisionally. What is the function of the ballot paper account from? To record the number of ballot issued and used. If a ballot box is found to be damaged, what should be done? Report the damage and replace the box. What should an election officer do if voter is caught attempting to vote multiple times? Report the incident and the preventing future voting. How should election officer handle a situation where a voter does not have an ID card? Request an alternative form of the ID or a voter verification certification. What is the purpose of the final count report? To document the total number of votes cast at each polling station. Who is the responsible for handling and securing election material after the polling ends? The presiding officer. What should be the election officer do if they encounter a voter who visibility intoxicated? Report the situation to the presiding officer. What is the purpose of the ballot paper summary? To record the total number of the ballot papers used and remaining. What action should be taken if a voter ballot is marked incorrectly? Issue a new ballot paper and discard the incorrect one. What document must be completed to officially declare the result from a polling station result declaration form? Which document provides a detailed record of all voters who have cast their ballots? Voter log sheet. How should election officer handle situation where the ballot box seal is found to be tampered with? Replace the box and report the tampering. What is the primary purpose of the conducting a recount of the voter? To verify accuracy of the vote count. Who is responsible for the final completion and the verification of the election result? The election commission. What type of the mandatory of the election officer before the election day? Election procedure and the protocol training. What should be done if the voter attempt to vote with the ballot paper that has been provisionally used? Reject the ballot and issue new one. Who is responsible for the ensuring the election material are distributed to a polling station? The returning officer. What should be done if a voter refuses to follow the polling station rule? report